The sun was just beginning to rise over the endless African plains, painting the horizon in deep reds and golden orange. The year was not measured in numbers by the people who lived here. They had no calendars, no clocks, no writing. Yet if we were to place them in time, it was 28,000 years ago, deep in the Paleolithic era. Here, survival was a daily challenge. Life was ruled by hunger, water, and the rhythm of nature. The people of this time were hunter-gatherers. They lived in small mobile groups, often no more than 30 to 40 individuals, bound together by family ties and mutual need. A clan was everything. Alone, a person could not survive. Together, they could find food, share fire, and defend against danger. Searching for food. In the early morning, men and women left the temporary shelters they had built from branches and animal hides. The night had been cold. Fire was their only protection against the chill. Now, with daylight, the fire was left behind, watched by the elders and children, while the rest went out to search for food. Unlike today's farmers, they had no crops to tend, no animals to milk or slaughter. Every single day, they had to find food fresh, or go hungry. The women and older children moved together toward the grasslands and woodland edges. They carried digging sticks made from sharpened wood hardened in fire. Their goal, roots, tubers, nuts, and berries. One woman crouched low, striking her stick into the ground with skill. She knew where to find the hidden water roots, thick with moisture, buried beneath the soil. Another shook a small tree, sending ripe figs tumbling down. Children gathered the fruit quickly, laughing as the sweet taste filled their mouths. But laughter was short. Every food source was precious and never wasted. Further away, others searched for honey. This was dangerous. Bees guarded their hives fiercely. But honey was a treasure, sweet energy, rare in this world of lean meat and fibrous plants. With smoke from smoldering wood, they drove bees away and scraped the honeycomb into baskets. The hunt. While women gathered, the men prepared for the hunt. Hunting was not a daily success. It was a risk, a gamble against chance and skill. Spears tipped with sharpened stone, sometimes smeared with poison from plants, were their only weapons. Today, they had spotted signs of movement near the riverbed. Gazelle tracks. Fresh. The men crouched low, scanning the ground, their eyes trained like hunters from childhood. Every detail mattered, the direction of the prints, the broken grass, the faint smell in the wind. Hunting was done together. Alone, a man could do little against a swift gazelle or dangerous buffalo. But in a group, with coordination and silent signals, they stood a chance. After hours of waiting, the chance came. A small herd of gazelle approached to drink. The men tensed. Spears lifted. With a sudden cry, they charged. The animals scattered in panic. Dust filled the air. A spear found its mark. One gazelle fell, thrashing weakly. The hunters closed in, ending its struggle quickly. Blood stained their hands, but joy filled their hearts. Meat meant survival, not just for the hunters, but for the whole clan. Returning to camp. By late afternoon, the groups returned. Women with baskets of roots, nuts, and fruit. Men with the heavy body of the gazelle slung between them. The camp came alive with excitement. Children ran forward, elders lifted their heads, and everyone gathered near the fire. But before eating, there were rituals. Food was not only survival, it was spiritual. The hunters knelt, offering thanks to the spirit of the animal, believing that only respect would ensure success in future hunts. The gathered food was shared, not hoarded. To eat together was to live together. The gazelle was skinned with stone blades. Some meat was roasted quickly, eaten while hot, juices dripping onto the fire. Other parts were dried in the sun for later days when hunting might fail. The skin was cleaned to make clothing or shelter covering. Nothing was wasted, not the bones, not the tendons, not even the horns. Everything had use. The daily struggle. As the stars filled the night sky, the clan sat around the fire. Smoke curled into the darkness, keeping insects and predators at bay. Stories were told, of the hunt, of spirits, of ancestors. For the children, these stories were not entertainment, but lessons on how to live, how to survive. Tomorrow would bring new struggles. Food was never guaranteed. Drought, predators, or empty land could mean hunger. And yet, The people endured, as they had for thousands of years before. The night in the African plains was vast and endless, with stars glittering brighter than fire. The clan's fire burned at the center of their camp, its red glow warding off predators and the deeper darkness beyond. Families huddled together in small groups, their shadows flickering on the ground. Only one person stayed fully awake, the fire watcher, chosen each night. Their duty was simple yet sacred: keep the fire alive. For without fire, there was no warmth, no protection, no cooked food, no spirit light to push away the terrors of the night. This small circle of light was more than survival. It was a symbol of the clan itself, fragile, yet strong when tended, enduring through tradition. The structure of the clan. The clan was not a kingdom, and it had no throne. Power was not measured in wealth, for wealth did not exist. Instead, leadership came from knowledge. The elders held authority. Their bodies were slower, but their minds carried generations of memory. They knew where rivers swelled after rains, which seasons brought migrations, which roots healed fever and which brought death. Elders were respected but not feared. A hunter could disagree, a mother could question, but when danger came, the clan listened. Survival was never a choice of one, it was a choice of all. The clan lived by roles, and each role was vital. Men hunted and defended. Women gathered and nurtured. Children learned by watching, listening, and repeating. Elders guided through memory and story. Without one, the others would falter. Rites of passage. For children, growing into adulthood was not just aging. It was a passage marked by ritual. When a boy reached his first hunt, the clan painted his face with red ochre, streaks of ash drawn across his chest. He was no longer a child to sit by the fire. He would join the hunters, his heart tested in silence, patience, and courage. If he returned with blood on his spear, the clan sang his name, welcoming him as a man. For girls, the path was equally honored but different. From their mothers, they learned the hidden wisdom of plants. Which tubers saved the starving, which herbs soothed wounds, which leaves helped in childbirth. Their passage into womanhood was marked not by blood spilled in the hunt, but by the strength to give life and guide it. These rites were not small ceremonies. They were the thread binding generations. A child who passed became a bearer of responsibility. The clan's survival depended on them. The spirit world. The people of 28,000 years ago lived close to mystery. For them, the land was alive with unseen forces. Every animal carried a spirit. Every river sang with life. The wind whispered messages from ancestors. Dreams were not just dreams, they were visions, signs, or warnings. At the center of this spiritual life was the shaman. Chosen not by vote but by vision, the shaman was a bridge between the clan and the invisible world. They wore skins of animals, painted faces with ochre, and rattled bones filled with seeds. In trance, they danced around the fire, their voice rising in chants, calling to the spirits of rain, earth, and sky. When sickness struck, people looked to the shaman. When hunts failed, the shaman asked forgiveness from the spirits of animals. Even death was not an end but a return, bones to the earth, breath to the sky, spirit to the ancestors. The laws of sharing. In this harsh world, survival was never certain. But one rule held stronger than all: share what you have. Food belonged to everyone. The gazelle hunted in the morning was divided so all could eat, from the youngest child to the oldest elder. Roots and fruits gathered by women filled the baskets of all, not just their own family. Hoarding was dangerous. It weakened trust. And trust was as important as fire. When disputes rose, over food, pride, or even mates, the elders gathered the clan. Words were spoken, not shouted. Judgment was simple: keep unity, for without unity, death waited outside the circle of fire. The harshest punishment was exile. A man cast out walked alone into the wilderness, where hunger, beasts, and silence claimed him. Thus, justice was not written on stone, but on the living heart of the clan. The power of story. When the day's work ended, when food was eaten and the stars stretched across the sky, the clan turned to their oldest tradition, storytelling. The elders spoke of ancestors who became stars, of great beasts hunted in ancient times, of spirits that walked the earth. Children sat close, their eyes wide, learning the ways of life through tales. These were not idle entertainments. They were maps of survival, carried in memory, not ink. Songs were sung, with drums made of hollow logs and stretched hides. The rhythm carried voices into the night. Sometimes, men danced like hunters chasing gazelle, while women clapped and sang of mothers who birthed the clan. Through story and song, the clan kept its identity alive. Even in hunger, even in fear, they were never just bodies surviving. They were people, with memory, meaning, and hope. Life in balance. The traditions of the clan were not luxuries. They were the invisible walls that held life together. Without the elders' wisdom, they would lose their path. Without the rites of passage, children would not grow into strength. Without the spirits and shamans, they would lose hope in unseen forces that gave meaning to life and death. Without sharing, they would break apart and vanish. Without stories and songs, they would forget who they were. Every tradition, every rule, every ritual was a survival tool as vital as the spear or the fire. The endless cycle. As dawn approached, the fire watcher placed another log into the embers. Smoke rose into the pale sky, marking the beginning of another day. Soon, hunters would prepare their spears, women would lift their baskets, and children would follow with eager feet. The cycle would begin again: gather, hunt, share, survive. The world outside was merciless, but within the circle of the clan, life continued. These traditions, born of struggle, carried by memory, hardened by time, were the foundation of humanity. From them, across tens of thousands of years, would rise villages, cities, kingdoms, and civilizations. But in that moment, 28,000 years ago, they were simply a clan on the African plains, bound by fire, bound by need, bound by tradition. And that was enough to survive.